Okay, Chuck Thornley? Chuck Thomas, sorry.
I'm going to reserve the hold for a minute, but I will yield my time to Mr. Shields.
I've signed up, so I'm
Did you?
willing to just do
Okay.
whatever, however the deck is shoved.
All right. I want to make sure you speak, sir. Chuck Thomas, I want to ask a question first, and absolutely I'm against all this. But first, do you think that there's loopholes built in for Ranger Power? I think I heard that there was a certain kilowatt and then that money would be going back to us, the counties and the schools and blah, blah, and so forth. Do you think that they will not use that loophole and not pay their taxes?
I will speak to how the agreement is written. The agreement is written based on the nameplate capacity. So when the solar panels are built, it's going to be built for 400 megawatt capacity. And that is how the pilots will be calculated, whether or not they are generating 400 megawatts at any given time. So it will be based on the maximum generation capacity.
Okay. What about the amount that will be transferred out of the state?
I do not have any knowledge about that.
Okay, so now we know. They will transfer the power out of here so that they do not pay. Yeah, you looking puzzled because now this is the first question. The question is still the same. They know that they built that loophole in the system so that they can send it out of state and it will not benefit us.
Okay, Denise Wells?
Well, I'm a resident here, I pay taxes, I agree with everything that's been said so far, and probably what's coming behind me. But I do know that once we start broadcasting these meetings, which is going to happen, people will be able to see what's going on, real time. I worked in media for 25 years before I came here 12 years ago, and we were broadcasting all of our municipal meetings for the citizens to watch real time live. This would not be happening if we were watching these meetings on TV, where everybody in their home that can't attend at 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, which I had to take we're off work to come here to make this meeting, because they are never going to be here. When we start seeing it live, this won't happen anymore. It is probably a done deal, but we're going to stop this. It's going to stop.
Yeah. Bruce Tarleton?
Morning.
Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Here we go. My name is Bruce Tarleton. I'm a resident of Henry County since 2010. I'm a veteran and I'm a landowner. This past couple of weeks I've been binge watching West Wing. And there was an episode, I think it was the first or second season, called Lame Duck. And in that episode, it was after the elections, the Congress was about to change hands. They wanted to call a lame duck session to get a piece of legislation passed that they knew would not pass with the new Congress. When they got to the guy, that most of the show was about them wheeling and dealing, trying to get these congressmen on board for it. When they got to the guy that actually wrote the piece of legislation, he told them, if you call a lame duck session, I won't vote for it. And they said, why? He said, because it was a contention in my district. And the people in my district voted me out because of this piece of legislation. And my legacy is not going to be the congressman that didn't listen to his people. This is a lame duck session right here. You guys are acting on legislation this agreement after the election when you know that when the new commissioners take over, they're not gonna pass this? What is your legacy gonna be? The two of you that were voted out, what is your legacy gonna be if you pass this? You know these people don't want it. It was made clear at the election, they don't want it. But you are sitting here, you're about to put pen to paper and pass something that you know these people voted against you for.
Are you listening?
What is your legacy gonna be? You've gotta ask yourself that, because I guarantee you, the way social media is here and the way the word gets out to people, you do this, and if you have any ambitions to run for office ever again, you won't be able to be elected as a dog catcher. Okay? Now, I have one other question about this. You want to sign a tax abatement for a corporation. A corporation that would pay all the taxes anyway, if they really want this project, but you want to sign a tax abatement, give them a break. What about the law that was passed here in Missouri that allows for a tax break for those of us that are going to be, well, me in a couple of years, but those of us that are 65 and older, to have our taxes, our assessments on our land frozen? Have you guys addressed that? No. I haven't heard anything out of you guys about that. You don't want to give us a tax break, but you'll give a corporation a tax break. Okay? You won't give us a tax break, you'll give a corporation a tax break. What is your legacy gonna be?
Okay, Bailey Carter.
Bailey Carter from Montrose, Missouri. Probably the youngest one in the room, I believe, maybe. 19 years old. 7th generation farmer, will be after I graduate college. I'm not here to argue about landowner rights. You can do with your land what you want. Our family will not be signing our ground up, which if you did, fine by you, it's your ground. My biggest deal with this is, what about those people that are my age, a little bit older than me, that were looking ahead in their life to get that ground, farm that ground, 25 years, quarter of your life, more than a quarter of your life that you have, and I'm gonna see all this ground be turned into solar panels and never be anything else. And then another thing I wanted to bring up, we have this big corporation coming in looking for these tax breaks. What about all these small businesses that we're taking that money away from whenever we lose the 6,000 acres? There is a lot of small businesses, not only here in Clinton, Montrose, Urick, I can name a lot of them, I'm not going to. There's a lot of money that go to those small businesses from those 6,000 acres. We have to think about that whenever this comes to fruition here. I looked today, just a minute ago, corn at Montrose is $4.13. If you figure 100 bushel corn, which is not very good, on a lot of this ground, 6,000 acres, that equals $2.5 million over 1 year, roughly. Over 25 years that these solar panels could get put in, it's $62.5 million. That's on 100 bushel corn at $4.13. There's been a lot more years where it's been a lot better than $4.13, and corn's been a lot better than 100 bushels an acre. $62.5 million is just on those 6,000 acres. And you're losing that for these solar panels, and you're losing small business company or dollars as well.
Russ Carter.
Let's go down that rabbit hole if we will. We're from Deepwater Township. We're friends with all of you, or we're friends with all of you that signed up for this. We voted for some of you in the past. And number 3, we're coming for you next time. We've all been over here at the fair, we've all rubbed shoulders, and we're all friends. But just like my son alluded to, and Jeffro, you know it the best, this affects clear down to Hyman and Rockville. This affects Doug at the elevator, Jake at the elevator. Whose fertilizer is gonna go? How many businesses does 6,000 acres of crops take, or cows, whatever you wanna put on that 6,000 acres? How many businesses does that affect, and how many employees does those businesses employ? 5, 10, 15. There's no major companies. Doug has, Kayleen, 20 employees. Hyman and Rockville has 20 employees. Let's pick a number. If we take 6,000 acres out of their breadbasket, what's that gonna do? Now, those of you that's ready to retire, and I will point to those of you that signed up, a large portion of you are ready to retire. But let's talk about this younger generation. I'm 50, I will admit. I have to work off farm to help support our farm. The business that I work at provides doors for probably some of you in this room. And consequently, if Mrs. Robertson can't sell her house, guess what? My boss calls up and says, Wes, you're not selling enough doors. Guess what? You're closing your doors. There's 7 employees behind my back. Gone.
And they ain't gonna work in the solar fields.
No, they don't bring any jobs in. You know.
So, my vote is, you turn this crap down and send Mr. Suit back up.
Jeffrey Hart.
Hey, I'm Jeff Hart. We reside out here at Davis Township. I think a lot of things have been touched on clearly already, but there's a few things I want to touch on still. One is, planning and zoning got adopted in Davis. Ask yourself why that is. It ain't because we wanted it, it's to keep this out.
Amen.
We've got major problems out there in Davis, and we've been the supporting of this county for quite some time. We're still dealing with the repercussions. Peabody Coal, power plant, and we have a fly ash problem. And now you're asking us to do this? This is ridiculous. My biggest question is, why does a company out of Chicago, 1, care about votes on this side, and 2, why do they give a darn about this community? There's a lot of concerns here, guys, but I can tell you right now, I've talked to local businesses, quarries, fuel companies, even when they were putting their job box in out there, and you know what they all said? No. We're not aiding, we're not helping this setup, this industry. Clearly the people here don't want it, but it's obviously going on deaf ears. Anything we say goes in one ear and out the other. I can tell by your blank stares now. There's another thing I want to touch on, and it happens to go over here to Ranger Power. I spoke with one of your constituents. You guys know Sunshine Solar? They're putting in 140 megawatt over in Ottawa, Kansas. But I think there's probably a couple people here out of Appleton City. Guess what? They're doing something down there, and they could not figure out why they had so much tension and so much pushback. It's because of this right here. You don't think communities don't talk? This is a very small community. You cannot buy your way into a community. You have to earn it. Flat out. There's one thing I want to leave you guys with, and it goes back to this young generation over here. You guys are making decisions for generations that aren't even born. That in itself is insane. Every one of you sitting up there, every man in this room, you were told as a young man, you were told as a boy, leave this world and your property in better shape than you found it. Something to think about.
Okay, Mark Larson.
This is addressed to all of you. My name is Mark Larson. This is to you. I'm honored to be the commissioner-elect. I just want you guys, I just want you to know I'm honored to be it. But I stand before you guys, especially you two, because I already talked to you, Jim. I know you've already told me I'm signing it no matter what, but I'm talking to you two. I respectfully request that you two defer voting on this to Jake and myself. Guys, this isn't a small matter. It really isn't. I wouldn't be standing here today. I truly believe that. If the county residents, they voiced their opinion. They pretty much told everybody what they want. I'm gonna do it, and I will tell you this, I will not sign it. I'll tell you up front. I mean, even if you guys do defer it, I'm not gonna sign it. Because I don't think it's right. You guys gotta understand, this decision has implications way down the line. Way down the line. It's not just about these guys are gonna make a little money and the rest of us are gonna suffer. You're gonna have people that have their land is gonna depreciate. You've already heard people can't sell. I know for a fact, I know one in particular, they can't sell the property because of this. That's a big thing. That is a big thing. Rick, I know you wouldn't want that. Dale, I know for a fact you wouldn't want it. The choice is really clear. By stepping aside, you guys actually uphold the integrity of that office and allow us to be accountable for what it is. If the people disagree with our choices, Jake, me, and Jim, you know what? They've got every right to hold us accountable. They can recall us, which I'd be very careful with. They could vote us out or other consequences. But if you guys act now, you literally deny the people the fundamental right of what their vote was all about. And that's just plain wrong. Any way you can. I've got one last thing I want to address. And I've heard it raised that Ranger Power will proceed with this without the Chapter 100 incentive. If that's true, so be it. Let them. I don't think they will. I don't think within 2 years you guys will still be in business. I'll be honest with you. You lose the subsidies, you are not sustainable. There's not one of you out there that can't survive without the subsidies. And they're going. They are going.
You want people like them right there too. Yeah, you.
It's our responsibility to determine the Chapter 100, not whether they build it. That's the issue right there. Don't give it to them. Don't give it to them. You know as well as I do, we're in a world, has the government ever been around, that they don't tax solar now, but if solar's going to be a big deal and it's the up and coming thing, you think this country and the Senate and the House, they're not gonna tax that? Seriously? And we get 3 times the money. If we're gonna get hosed, put a little more money in my pocket if you're gonna hose me, okay? $1 million? Guys, for us sitting out here, $1 million is a lot of money. For a government entity, $1 million is not a lot of money. It's not. You can say what you want, but it's not. You dropped how many thousands of dollars to buy a new grader or a new tractor? Just like that. Just like that. So my point actually is to you two. I agree with the last man that stood up here. We weren't paying attention. This is us. This is on us. We were not paying attention to what was going on. But Jim, I am going to let you know. They will be paying attention because those will be recorded. If the county doesn't buy it, I will. They will be there.
Okay. Jared Krupp.
Okay, I'd like to just start off. That was a cute little marketing spiel from the form letter about property rights. That's not what we're here to discuss today. It's a good distraction technique though, get everybody talking about the project. The question today is not whether the project goes through or if people have property rights. It's about whether this commission passes a tax abatement for them. Commissioners and members of the community, Chapter 100 is a financial tool used by small governments to incentivize companies to build within their jurisdiction. It's used to attract companies to an area. You commissioners have repeatedly stated the solar industrial complex has been in the works since 2018. Jim Stone stated on the record that they told us they're coming no matter what, and that was the reason for this Chapter 100. That makes no sense. So why then are you desperately trying to sign a tax abatement to benefit the company when they don't need an incentive to come here? Why are you exchanging potentially far greater future tax revenue for a lower fixed payment from them? Why are you hurriedly trying to get this agreement in place 1.5 months before you leave office? This is one of many industrial solar companies now lurking in our beautiful county. Are you going to give away tax money to all of them too? Because what you do here will set a precedent. Soon Henry County will be a beautiful industrial landscape of steel and glass. Won't that be wonderful? Better change that great people by nature slogan. From your own meetings, Ranger Power has admitted that there would be only 3 to 5 full-time jobs associated with this project. They stated approximately 250 to 300 during construction, but a quick look into these projects across the country proves that nearly 0 of those jobs are performed by local workers. These companies are not taking the time to recruit and train locals. They have subcontractors that travel in to do this work. And what about all the other local companies that have supported this county with tax revenue for decades? Where's their tax break? And Jim, you stated on the record September 12th in video that we don't have to do it. You're right, the Chapter 100. That part of it, we don't have to. So guess what? If that's what the public wants, we'll do nothing. The fact that you're even considering giving a tax abatement to this company that needs no incentive from local government to come here, hires no local workers, provides no long-term jobs, potentially costs the county millions in future tax revenues, and hurts agricultural supported businesses here is mind-boggling. You've stated several times that the commission has no power to stop the solar project. Well, you do have the power to not give them this massive tax handout. Mr. Stone, your choice is now clear. Honor your word or show the entire community that you lied on record by signing this agreement. And the only question left is for Rick and Dale, what's your motivation to push this through 1 month before you're out of office? Do the honorable thing. Respect the mandate that the voters of this county gave you in the August primary to stop cooperating with this company and decline giving them this tax handout.
Amen.
Parks.
My name is Eileen Parks, and I'm a resident of Walker Township. First of all, I think it's a sad day for our community, not the Chapter 100, what the solar company has come in and done to our neighbors, put neighbor against neighbor. I'll have solar panels close to me if they come through there, but I believe our zoning can hold up. I am fortunate to live in the middle of the acreage, and I won't have to see it all the time. But you know, I've known some of these people all my life, and I can't even talk to them now. This has put a wedge between us, which Ranger Power, they don't care. So what I have here is, I think most of the people here don't believe that our voices have been heard or our votes have been acknowledged. So I would like to see, by a show of hands, if you think that our commissioners should sign this Chapter 100 and give Beavertail solar tax breaks and let them cover our farmland with solar panels. Raise your hands. If you're for this, I'd like you to raise your hand. Okay. Now, by the same, if you think that our commissioners shouldn't sign this and shouldn't cover our land with solar panels, raise your hand. Get up. Stand up.
That's the majority.
So I think our voices have not been heard. Our votes have not been acknowledged. And there is no way that you can look at these people whom you represent and not see what the majority wants you to do.
Amanda Cobbin.
Much of what I wanted to say has already been said, but I do want to add, not feeling heard. I do want to take my 3 minutes. My husband and I have lived in the Davis community we've been married 30 years today, but almost our entire married life. We've raised our children there. Both of our families do currently live in the same community or have. I want to say that we're going to have solar panels surrounding us in 3 different directions. And I realize that some of you setting up there, if it doesn't apply to you, maybe we don't matter. Everything's been done in secret. Nothing has been open. We recently, this meeting that had taken place about 6 months ago, that was the first time we had started hearing about this. We're at the point in our lives, we're looking towards retirement. And we are finally empty nesters, and we're finally able to do some needed improvements on our house after raising our kids and sacrificing all of those years. And now, we wouldn't even have the opportunity to sell our house. We couldn't get what we wanted out of it, even if we did try to sell it, because our property values have already tanked. They're gonna tank. They have tanked. And nobody can tell me otherwise. Nobody wants to buy a house in the middle of solar panels. Furthermore, if you've grown up being able to hunt and fish, you're not going to get to do that anymore. The animals, I don't know where they're going to go, but they aren't going to be in our community. This whole thing nobody came around to, I think what hurts so badly is that when you are raised to try to do the right thing all the time, even when nobody's looking, and you have neighbors that you would do anything for that kept it all quiet, and you don't have the ability to make any decisions or move forward because you didn't know any of this was happening. I think that's what hurts so bad. And I think the fact that zoning was approved in our community, was voted for, and that these two on the end were voted out, I think that says a lot. That speaks volumes. Furthermore, the businesses, that's the other thing, the businesses that depend on the farmers coming in and purchasing, they are going to lose business. And to me, 5 people that this might employ locally is not worth the probably 100 employees we're talking about that could lose their jobs because the businesses are losing money off the land that is not being farmed. Power Ranger, if I'm correct, and I've done a little bit of research, you've been around since 2017, is that correct? So about the time you started making these plans for Henry County and coming and talking to all the neighbors, well, some neighbors. I'm not a big fish in the pond, I'm a very little fish. We have little land. But guess what? I looked forward to our retirement years. I looked forward to having grandkids and being able to be outside and not hearing the buzzing, whining of solar panels. It's torn our community apart, and I don't know that that will ever be fixed. And that's all I have to say.